They took your name, your land, your language, but not your legacy. Reclaim it at AfricanAncestry.com.
How do brothers become a good husband and father when they never saw or don't understand what a good husband or father is?
Very good question. You know, we have a saying inside the ranks of the FOI that we mentioned, the military training of the men that belong to Islam in North America, that in order to be a man, you got to meet a man. However, that man that you meet doesn't have to be your biological father. That man that you meet doesn't have to be somebody that you actually shook his physical hand and seen him face to face. The man that you and I should meet is the Supreme Being himself. So if we are created in the image and the likeness of God, then God is the example of manhood. So everything that you read about God, try to carry it into practice yourself. And the first phase of it, to make it simple, is as we shared with the brothers in the penitentiary. Break that Lord's Prayer down. There was a sister that asked the minister a question one day. She said, how will I know a real man when I meet one? And the minister said, easy, sister. Just study the Lord's Prayer. That is a description of what a real man looks like. So once you take that Lord's Prayer and you break that down into manhood traits, you'll find that that will make you able to meet not a man, but the man, God himself, and you can become much greater of a man than what you may have seen growing up in your environment. Scripture says Jesus didn't have a biological father in his life, but look how great of a man he became connecting to a spiritual father. The minister never met his father before, but look how great of a man he became by meeting a spiritual father named the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I never was able to know my father and meet my father. I met him once or twice when I was 17, once when I was 31, but I've only seen him and talked to him a couple conversations in life. But I met a man in the minister that met a man in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that met God.
I have a quick question, right? Working with teenagers, I notice teenagers who don't grow up around, not the father, but just a strong man, struggle with interacting with a strong man. So because you didn't grow up around your father, how was your relationship, or how did you respond to strong men initially?
I think that I wanted to be one, so I never shunned it, you know. And growing up, of course, there was always people that dominated in the environment, whether it was in sport, physical strength, hustling, intelligence, whatever it was, and you should, and I thought I did, I'd always observe. You know, I like that about Brother Soul. This brother, he's solid in this area. Weak in that area, but solid in that area. I'm gonna try to be solid like that. So we've learned something. There's a chapter in the Quran, the 16th chapter, it's called the bee. And really, the way a bee develops honey is the way that a man can become a real man. See, the bee lands on flowers in different environments and extracts the best from each of those flowers, called pollen. Then it takes the best from each flower it lands on, marries it with the best within itself, then spews it into its own comb, and we eat it, and it's called honey, and we get energy, nutrients, and healing from it. So it is with a man. You don't have to have that one man, but you should see enough strong men and land on them like a bee. Extract the best that each man has to offer, marry it with the best in yourself, and then give yourself back to the world, and you might find yourself a source of energy, a source of strength, and a source of healing to your people. So that's the kind of mentality. So if you there's a scripture that says God did not create man in the spirit of timidity. He created man in the spirit of power, love. Some translations say sound mind and some say self-discipline. But you need self-discipline to even have a sound mind. So if we're created in the nature of power, love, and self-discipline, not created to be timid, then once you know that yourself, no matter what age you are, you can't operate like that. You can't operate where you are tucking your tail and putting your head down everywhere you go. You should be up looking around trying to absorb the best you can from everybody in your environment, incorporating it within the best within you so that you can become the strong, solid man compiled of all the ones you've met. So there's so many strategies, so many methods that can be employed for us to be made into what we are supposed to be. But we have to take charge of our own post and be conscious about becoming as they say, a 10 toes down, stand up, solid man. And at the end of the day, whether you meet a man or not, there's a built-in self-validation system inside of man. You judge yourself off of who you are, what you do, and how much you make doing it. And you know, even if you faking on social media, you know whether or not you're successful. You know, no matter how tough you act, if you're a coward. So once you start looking in your mirror and you know that I am solid, I am courageous, I am intelligent, I am moral, I do have principles, I'm doing something that's honorable, I'm not lying, stealing, cheating, or selling nothing illegal, I'm doing an honorable work. And now, what else? How much do I make doing it in comparison to other people that is doing it? Now I got something to work toward to determine my success. Once you activate that system, and it's going to be activated, and once you start matching it, you'll feel good about yourself and be able to be that man you want to be.